we're curious because this is something that's come relatively new into like the natural health field that people are starting to take care of. And we're interested to know how much you are already aware of the vagus nerve in your body. Let me tell you a quick story. It's the biggest nerve in your body. I think it is. Am I right, Dr. Saunders? The biggest
Yes.
nerve? Yes. So if it's the biggest, it probably has the most impact. So
It that's why it's called Vegas. The word Vegas means wanderer. It wanders all over your body.
fascinating.
Yeah, it's really amazing.
Everybody
Interesting.
needs this then.
Yes, yes. Okay, well then before we get started, let's take care of our housekeeping. I've got the slides here ready to go, Cheryl. One second.
All right.
All right, here you go.
All right. And in general, put where you're from in the chat. We'd love to, always love to find out where you're from. All right. So our disclaimer today is the same as it always has been. The webinar is being made available for informational and educational purposes only and is not intended to be a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Always seek the advice of your physician or other qualified health provider with any questions you may have regarding a medical condition. Never disregard medical professional advice or delay in seeking it because of something you've heard here. And then, like you just heard, Dr. Saunders loves asking your questions. It's like the highlight. We were just talking beforehand. It's the highlight to hear your questions, to be together. So there is a place to do this. It's not in the chat. While we love having conversations in the chat, the place to put your questions is down in the Q&A. If you look on the screen, you'll see a black bar. There's a little Q&A section with a question mark in it. If you don't see it, then go to the three little dots that say more, click on that, and then there'll probably be some options to choose. In the variety of options to choose will be that question mark. Choose that. If you're on the cell phone, it's also at the bottom to select the Q&A for your questions.
Mhm.
Yes. And then as always, if we were just talking about, we always learn something from this webinar. If you've learned something from the webinar, if you've bought any of our solution kits or any of our products and have a positive result to share with us, please do so. You send us an email at support@bartonpublishing.com and reach out to us. And we just want to gather the good things that are going on because it helps us and it helps others who need help. I just saw a comment today that someone put on Facebook their blood sugar went down from 6.6 to 6.4. And they're like, it's not a big adjustment, but the doctor is still happy because it's the right direction. So
Mhm.
if you're in the right direction, that might help someone.
Absolutely, absolutely. And one thing that we're trying to be a community and we're trying to support each other and to help each other along the way because we can't do this alone. So your speaking out and sharing your stories is going to more than likely help somebody else. So we want to encourage you to do that. Also, I would like to give a shout out to any of those who maybe found us on YouTube. Maybe you're not watching live, you're watching this as a replay. We want to make sure we say welcome to you as well. If you are not aware of us and you just stumbled upon us, this is something that we do each week. We do this hold this webinar live on Wednesdays at 2 o'clock Eastern time every week, and it's free. So we love to provide this information and to get this out to as many people as we can. So if you are watching on a replay and you'd like to join us live, maybe you have questions you would like to ask, we would love to have you join us live. The way that you can do that is you can register. You just go to bartonwebinar.com and it's a one-time registration, and then you're registered for all the upcoming webinars. You'll get an email in your from Zoom each week. You'll get an email. It's got the link in it, so you'll be able to join us every week, and then you can jump on and ask your questions and have them answered live. So we would love to have you live with us. We appreciate the fact, though, if you're watching the replay. We do try to answer as many questions as we can live each week. Cheryl and I were just talking. We don't always have time to get to them all. So if you want to be sure that your questions are asked on the webinar, we do have a Facebook group. I'll share the link to that a little bit later on. But each week now, I'm going to try and put a post out there for the upcoming webinar. If you comment your question out on there on Facebook, I will make sure that we ask Dr. Saunders that question every week. So if you're like, doggone it, my question's just not getting answered, head on out there to our Facebook group, ask it out there on that post, and I will make sure that it gets out there for you. So our format is we usually do some teaching on a specific topic for the beginning time and ask some questions to Dr. Saunders, and then about 2:30 or so we open it up to the live Q&A, and that's when you can ask any of the questions that you would like. So that's kind of a little bit about how we do things around here and what we're up to. So let's get on with the main show. Okay, so, all right, so Dr. Saunders, as we talked about, we're going to be talking about the vagus nerve, not the Las Vegas nerve, not the blackjack slot machine, nerve, but the vagus nerve. The vagus nerve has gotten a lot of buzz lately. I've really just recently started to hear about it on social media. I've seen different people like with cold packs and stimulators and lots of different things that they're doing. And I'm like, what in the world is going on here? So I'm sure there's some other folks here today that are like me that have maybe seen it, heard about it, and would like to know more. So, would you just give us a really quick, plain English explanation of what is the vagus nerve? Where does it live in the body? And then is this legitimate, or is this kind of like a social media like hype, something that's gotten exaggerated? So let's just talk a little bit about what is it and where does it live? And is this like scientific, or is this just, you know, doing what people do sometimes?
Okay. Okay. This is so important. Like everybody needs to know this. This is like really how the body works. And it's all of the stuff that you don't have to think about, that you don't want to think about. You don't want to have to think about, okay, take your breath. Okay, let it out. Okay, now take a breath. Let it out. Like in, out, repeat, right? You have to, if you had to think about every breath you take, what else would you get done? Or think about every heartbeat. Okay, but beat again. No, beat again, beat again, beat again. Every second you have to tell it to beat. No, beat a little faster now. You don't have to think about any of that stuff. This is what we're talking about. This is the autonomic nervous system. It's the stuff that's going on behind the scenes that's keeping you alive, keeping you active, and making you able to function, without which you would not be able to function. If your nervous system, autonomic nervous system, isn't functioning properly, you're sitting down, everything looks great, then you stand up, and all of a sudden, boom, you fall over. Faint, like dead out, unconscious. Why? Well, because when you stood up, all of the blood ran out of your head down into your feet. And nothing was there to close the blood vessels and push it back up to your head, because the autonomic nervous system wasn't working. So all the blood ran out of your head, and now you don't have anything, and any oxygen. Your brain goes, gone. So this system is like constant, day and night, never sleeps. It's really, really important. Now, the way it works is there's two separate systems, and they're really separate. They're not like compatible, but they're really weirdly not. They're not equivalent. You don't have like light and dark and hot and cold. You don't have that. You have the sympathetic nervous system, which has through the upper
Looks like
on the what's that?
you froze for a second.
Oh,
but
I'm sorry. The
that's okay.
sympathetic nervous system is sending out signals on the right side, sending out signals on the left side, and going over your body and causing constriction of the blood vessels, and then it causes your heart to beat faster, causes you to breathe more. It's the fight or flight, like I got to get out of here, that kind of thing. That's the sympathetic nervous system, raises your blood pressure, all of that. Then there's the parasympathetic nervous system. Why do they call it the parasympathetic? Well, because it's kind of like the autonomic nervous system, the sympathetic, but it's beside it. Para means beside. So, but it kind of follows it, but not really. It doesn't come from this near the same nerves. You don't have like two nerves running together, one's sympathetic, one's parasympathetic. Your parasympathetic has this weird vagus nerve. Now, here we get to vagus. The word vagus means wanderer. So, so this nerve wanders all over. It comes out of your brainstem and it goes to your heart, and then it goes to your lungs, and goes to your diaphragms, and then it kind of wanders over to all your organs. It goes to your spleen and your liver, and goes through your intestines, and it goes through, and it goes around to the blood vessels, and causes dilation of blood vessels, and is what starts the intestinal system working, and the pancreas. Okay, so for those of you who have diabetes, here's something weird about the vagus nerve. Just one thing you got to know. In studies done with diabetes, that vagus nerve controls the insulin coming out of your pancreas. And some people have type 1 diabetes, no insulin. They don't make any insulin at all. They have to do injections of insulin. And so then what was done, these studies were done where they put nerve block at the vagus nerve before it goes into the pancreas. And all of a sudden, the pancreas starts working. And it starts working beautifully, like everything, like you're making insulin, your blood sugars are normal, everything works great. And when that nerve block wears off, they go back to having diabetes again. It's an entirely like this is controlling that function, like so specifically that function, and not a different function. Like the pancreas has a whole bunch of functions. It has an exocrine function where it's putting out enzymes to digest your food. Nah, that's working fine. It's just those islet cells that make the glucagon, somatostatin, and glucagon, somatostatin, and insulin are made, and they're being suppressed by the vagus nerve. Dang, well, how does that happen? Well, it turns out that the ultimate control comes from the back of your brain, the what do they call it? The lizard brain, right? Um that is say what?
The amygdala?
Well, no, yeah, partly there. That's part of it too. And that's where the control comes from. It's the it's the emotional part. Yes, like from the amygdala and all that. So there's something emotional that's causing this person with diabetes to not make insulin. It's weird. And then so why do people get back pain? It's because that control of their blood vessels constricts blood vessels to those muscles. The muscles aren't getting enough blood flow. They spasm and you go, ah, I can't move. And you say, well, it's because I lifted something heavy. No, it's not because you lifted something heavy. It's because you're not getting blood flow to those muscles. And that's all the sympathetic nervous system. So, think about the way life is today, how much stress you have. What is stress? That's the sympathetic nervous system. You're going to get constriction of blood vessels. You're going to get pain. You're going to get fibromyalgia. You're going to get high blood pressure. And then you're going to go to the cardiologist and go, oh my gosh, your blood pressure is high. You better take this pill. And it's not about the pill. It's about your sympathetic nervous system. My intestines don't work. Why? Because the sympathetic nervous system isn't allowing enough blood flow to get in there for everything to function properly. So, we have all this sympathetic stimulation. And where's our parasympathetic? Well, the parasympathetic is relaxing on the beach, you're warm, you feel great, you're eating. So you eat, you relax, you feel warm, comfortable. That's the parasympathetic nervous system. That's what the vagus nerve is supposed to do. So, we have a lot of sympathetic, but not a lot of parasympathetic. So everybody's coming out with these vagus nerve stimulators. How do I stimulate the vagus nerve? Why? Because I wanted to bring it up and make them, balance my autonomic nervous system so everything is balanced properly. Because you don't want to shut anything down, but you just want it to come back into balance. So That's what all this vagus nerve stuff is all about. Now you know everything that I know, and we don't know anything.
I'm fascinated by how things we attribute a problem is not the real reason. It's actually the vagus nerve constricting blood flow. Like if we can catch that and take care of our vagus nerve, we could probably solve a lot of our problems. So is it one of the things you talked about is the parasympathetic? I always think of parachute like it's your jump to safety or jump to say.
Yeah, that's great. I like that.
So is it really like it controls your entire calm system of the
Yes,
body?
it's the calming effect. The sympathetic is the stimulating effect, and the parasympathetic is the calming effect. And we have a lot of stimulation and very little calming in our society.
So how does it manage all the calming us down just by bringing blood flow to everything?
Part of it is blood flow. Part of it is to calm the heart, calm the adrenal glands so you're not putting out hormones, calm the um, inflammatory system so you're not making inflammation, and to keep things in more of a calm state.
Okay.
So you said that some people have these stimulators to stimulate it. How does stimulating the nerve calm you? I would feel
Uh,
like that would like make it better. I don't understand.
okay. When the vagus nerve is working, then you have a calmer state. And so if the vagus nerve is shut down and not working, then all you have is the sympathetic stimulation, and this is how you calm down.
Now, what about the gut-brain connection? Digestive issues, the bloating, the swelling, constipation. Is,
Man,
pardon me?
what was your question?
So is the vagus nerve basically the telephone line between these two?
Well, yes, it's the telephone line. It's the hardwire connection. There's a lot of hormonal connections and other connections, but the hardwire connection is the vagus nerve, and it works both ways. The intestinal system is sending signals to the brain, and the brain is sending signals back to the intestinal system.
Interesting. Okay, I've heard the term low vagal tone.
Hmm.
Yeah.
How do you know if your vagal tone is low? Are there symptoms? Are there ways to fix that? How do I know?
Um, Part of it, yes, there's potentially symptoms. Is like you're overstimulated easily, you're jumpy, you're easily like into fight or flight. There you don't have that calming effect. Some people would say, "Oh, my anxiety, I feel it in my stomach." And that's the vagus nerve is suppressed at that point. Okay, you're not resting and digesting, and that's a common one. Is a lot of abdominal, a lot of people with irritable bowel syndromes and abdominal pain and cramps and all that. Is a lack of blood flow, or the lack of vagal tone. You want vagal tone, you want to stimulate the vagal nerve to get that tone.
I'm sure we'll get to talk about how we're going to stimulate the vagus nerve. But my next question is, you mentioned that that the vagus nerve can impact the pancreas. So, can a poorly functioning vagus nervous system make someone's blood sugar harder to control, even
Oh
if it's
yeah.
okay? How?
Oh yeah. They call them brittle diabetics. It's just so hard to control because sometimes it'll shoot up, blood sugar will shoot up, and then sometimes it'll drop too low, and giving insulin makes it become uh, weirder, because of the way the pancreas works. When you release insulin from the pancreas, it turns off the glucagon, And if you inject it from your skin on the outside, then you're not turning off the glucagon. So glucagon's telling your liver make more sugar, and so your sugar's going up, and then your insulin's going up, and then and then you get too much insulin, and it drops down low. It's very difficult to control when the vagus nerve isn't stimulating properly.
Interesting. Okay. So obviously it's very important. Let's get practical then. If you want to start supporting your vagus nerve, what are some of the easiest, most accessible things that we can do?
Okay, the single easiest thing to do is breathing exercises. You can do that anywhere, anytime, and you don't have to be meditation or doing yoga, or you don't have to do any of that. You could just be lying in bed, and you wake up with a start, and your heart's beating hard, and you go, "Oh, now I'll never get back to sleep." And then you just lay there and you take deep breaths. Okay, so all what it is you don't breathe in your chest, you breathe in your abdomen. So you actually want to push your abdomen down, and then let all the air out, push the air out, and make sure your abdomen is going in and out and your chest is not. Why? Because the vagus nerve, the phrenic nerves are off of the vagus nerve, and they are the ones that control your diaphragm. And that's the best thing, the best control that you have in the autonomic nervous system is you have the option of controlling that part of the sympathetic nervous system. So, or the parasympathetic nervous system. So you can actually stimulate parasympathetic activity by deep breathing.
I'm confused. How does the deep breathing then get the vagus nerve? I
Okay,
lost how that works.
you are actively, consciously aware of your breathing. So you don't have to think about it and up and down. And then, but you can tell it to make your diaphragm go up and down. And so you actively stimulating that vagus nerve, and it goes down the vagus nerve into your phrenic nerves and then to your diaphragm. Because you can actively stimulate it from your brain, that's the control that you have over it.
Hmm. Okay. So, breathing, what about cold plunging or putting your face in a cold water?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And the face, that's something that is a very interesting thing. I had a patient who had palpitations of her heart. She had a supraventricular tachycardia. So her heart is going like 200 beats per minute. She's in an emergency department. They call me up and they say, "We're going to have to admit her to the hospital. We've given her shots and nothing's worked." And so I went in. So I went into the ER and I said, "Have you put her face in cold water?" And they said no, she didn't want to do that. And I reached up and I pushed right here. Um, there's the in the parasympathetic system from that comes from the vagus nerve. There's two. Um, Pressure sensors right there in the carotid arteries, and that's what makes sure that there's blood flowing to your brain and all that. That's how it works. The sensors are right there. So if you push right on those arteries where you feel the pulse, um, you could actually put stimulate that vagus nerve. And what that does is all of a sudden it'll slow down the heart. So I went in and I pushed on it, and her heart suddenly went back to normal. Beep, beep, beep. Just perfectly normal. Everybody goes, "Oh, Dr. Saunders, wow, you're amazing." And
We don't have to admit her now. There
it's
went
just,
that bill.
but it was just that's the way the physiology is. And so that's where the stimulators, people will put an electric stimulation right there to kind of do the same thing. But what I was doing was pushing against it actually pretty hard. to get those pressure sensors to stimulate the vagus nerve to slow down her heart rate.
Interesting. All right.
Yeah.
So,
Okay. So
okay.
wait. So you were,
Okay.
and the face going in cold water, that is actually a thing too. That slows down the heart. It slows down the breathing. It slows down the metabolism. So that stimulates the vagus nerve a lot to do all of that too. So yeah, that's a reaction. All mammals have that reaction when if they jump in cold water, everything slows down.
Interesting.
Um, and and then the other one what you asked about was cold plunges. Now, cold plunges is a different thing. That's not just the face. The face is an actual nervous system reaction, whereas the cold plunge, it's the same thing like you have control over your phrenic nerves so that you can control the diaphragm, your breathing. In the same sense, you're sitting in freezing cold water, and your sympathetic nervous system is saying, "Get me out of here! This is terrible. This is awful. I'm gonna die here." And you have the power to say, "No, we're okay. We're just gonna relax here. Here, take a deep breath." And that's the Wim Hof method, right? Is you're in this freezing cold water and you're taking deep breaths and you're saying, "No, it's okay. We're okay. We're not gonna die. We're fine." And what you're doing is you're allowing that to be normalized in a fight or flight reaction and allowing it to normalize. So it's a different way of handling the autonomic nervous system to allow more parasympathetic or more vagus nerve to act on the body.
Interesting. Okay, what are there other ways like you'd mentioned earlier? I've heard about humming, gargling. Are those just, I don't know, are there other ways?
Um, yeah, there's other ways. Fasting is actually a really interesting way.
Oh, we
Uh,
have to talk about fasting.
when you're fasting, you're doing the same thing. So you're really hungry and you're going, "I'm hungry. I need food." And you go, "Nope, not time to eat yet." And take a deep breath, and you take the air in instead of the food. And that essentially does the same thing. It allows this balance of the sympathetic is saying, "I want to eat," and you're going, "Nope, we're okay," and you're providing more parasympathetic or vagus nerve stimulation for that. Um, let's see, what else? We talked about Wim Hof. Um, Deep breathing, yoga breathing, that works. Uh, what else? Oh, the actual electrical stimulators of those parasympathetic nerves. Yeah, people do that sometimes. Um, ah, those are
Those are the main ones.
yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
maybe some of our viewers have something they've tried. If you do, throw it out in the chat and we'll see.
I've heard laughing.
Laughter, humming, yeah, those kinds of things. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, there was another one. Tapping. What's it
Oh,
called?
yes. Tapping,
That,
that's what it's called.
yeah. You can do tapping. And that's a distraction. And it actually works really well. It's an autonomic distraction. And it works. And essentially you're telling your autonomic nervous system to balance that to bring more vagal tone, more parasympathetic.
Okay, I have a question because I've had nerve issues, and so bringing my regulation down has been something I've had to learn to do. And one of the lessons I learned was you look straight forward and then you turn your eyes as far as you can where your face is forward until like you yawn.
Huh.
I don't, have you ever
That's
heard of that?
interesting.
Because there's something
No.
the eyes it basically somehow reset the vagus nerve.
Well, that could be. I'm not familiar with that one. That's interesting.
It
So,
helped.
well, that's
Go
good.
ahead, Jody. Sorry.
That's okay. So you said, okay, when you said it helps the tone. Okay, so in my mind, I'm thinking exercise, tone, muscles, strengthen. So when you do these things, is this just a quick fix like in the moment, or is that giving it more longevity? Is it helping tone, like if you exercise your muscles, you tone them?
It's like when you exercise your muscles, you tone them. The nervous system works interestingly on a similar basis to the muscles, and that is that the more you use it, the stronger it becomes. And so it's kind of like when you have a one lane road where that's hardly ever used. And so, you know, a car can come this way, but if there's two cars coming head on, one has to kind of pull over to the side of the road and let the other one through. And then as it gets used more, you have to widen out the road. So now you can have them going both ways at the same time. And then you get like more traffic, and now you have to have two lanes on both sides, and then three, and then four. And in the in where's it, in Canada, I was looking at this 10 lanes on each side freeway. You know, there's huge amounts of traffic going on this one road. The nervous system kind of works like that. The more something is used, the more it's enlarged to fit that. And so that's what we call tone. And the muscles kind of do the same thing. You know, if you work out really hard, your muscles get bigger, and there's more of those myocytes, the muscle cells, to contract and um, so yes, you are actually creating tone in the nervous system to allow you to balance more. And so a lot of these things that we do to try to get this tone is extremes, right? You go, well, why can't I just go in 70-degree water, and is that okay? No, you know, it has to be sort of to the extreme, to be uncomfortable to the point of one or the other. So part of when you're breathing, if you've looked at Wim Hof breathing, you're breathing hard. You're breathing really hard, in, out, but you're getting your carbon dioxide way down, so you're getting very alkaline. And your body knows, it doesn't know carbon dioxide, but it knows alkaline. And then or yeah, carbon dioxide too. And then you hold your breath. And you hold your breath, you're getting your pH way up. And so you're getting this extreme low, extreme high. Um, the water, you're sitting in this freezing cold water, and it's in the extremes that your body is able to find the median and go, okay, that's where it is. If all you ever are is comfortable, then that's all you ever know. Then there's no discomfort, and so you're always on the edge of discomfort because that's all you know. So until there's an extreme when your body can go, okay, here's where we're supposed to be. And that's with temperature, it's with pH. So when I was taught to run, when I was running long distance, um, um, uh, relax and run faster. And I'm like, that doesn't make any sense. You know, you run harder. And then breathing, slow down your breathing. I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, relax, run faster, slow down your breathing. That's all counterintuitive. But it's what needs to be done so that your body learns how to hold on to the extra CO2 is okay. It'll get out when it needs to get out. You don't need to. So essentially, you're kind of doing the same thing of you're consciously creating the parasympathetic, whereas the sympathetic is like the automatic one. That's always going to be there.
Is there a diet that keeps this vagus nerve strong?
Hmm, I don't know. Fasting is something that really helps.
So, any other diet things that would help for managing blood sugar or gut issues?
Yeah. Or or supplements or something. I don't know. I don't know if there's anything that is especially good for the vagus nerve or parasympathetic nervous system.
Because it's different than like Nervala, which we have for neuropathy. It's a
Right.
different nervous system. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sounds like
Exactly.
it's more training and more reteaching in a way, your
Mhm.
body.
Yeah, yeah, because it's more the nervous system. The Nervala part is more B1 is for energy, and the alpha lipoic acid is for inflammation and blood flow. So you got blood flow and energy to feed the nervous system, but we're talking here about specifically the nervous system, the nerves themselves.
Okay. So Sib wants to know, so is the vagus system somehow connected to mental health?
Ah, I'm sure it is. But
If
I
it's
don't
all
know.
out of whack, I would say that would not be the great mental state to be in.
Yeah, well, in the sense of if you have excessive sympathetic nervous stimulation, you're going to be anxious. You're going to get palpitations of your heart, and you're going to be in fight or flight and worried about things, and may even panic attacks. That could all be sympathetic if you don't have enough of the parasympathetic, calming, relaxing, rest and digest.
Before we went live, you mentioned something about heart math. What is heart math and what is that?
Oh, that's the other one I forgot about. Yeah.
Okay.
So like it's kind of like we were talking about tapping and all that. HeartMath is really cool. They hook up your autonomic nervous system to machine, to like a computer, and so they put um, a monitor for sweating in your palms, right? Because of the, and then they put a belt around you for breathing, and then they put a heart thing on you. So they have all the and your temperature, and they have all these autonomic nervous system functions that are being monitored, and you can see on the monitor what's going on. And then they either give you like something to think about or something to do to try to get these to be calm and relaxed state and not in the hyper state. So and there's various ways of doing it. There's games that you can yeah, that it doesn't work unless you're in that state kind of thing. But the idea is that you can feel you start the monitors help you to see what you're feeling in your body because people are often aren't aware of how they feel. They're not really sensitive to their own body and they don't know, gosh, I'm really stressed right now. And a lot of people say, no, I'm fine. I'm fine. No problems. But in reality, they're just like so stressed out. I had somebody yesterday in my office like that. Oh my gosh. No, no, no problems, no problem. And I'm like, no, this is a sympathetic nervous system problem. She goes, no, 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 it's got to be mold toxicity. No, it's not mold toxicity.
Oh my goodness. I think that's really interesting what you're saying about if you're watching, you're seeing on a monitor, like, you know what I
Yeah,
mean? It's kind of
yeah,
like when I was pregnant watching the contractions on the monitor. It's
yeah,
like, whoa, I didn't know I was feeling that, or
yeah.
whatever. I've talked with my daughter about that a lot. She can sometimes deal with really big emotions. She's really young. And so we're trying to talk about things that she can do before she hits that point where it's out of control or, she kind of goes over the edge. So I'm like, let's think about what does your body feel like? I'm trying to get her to realize how she's feeling so that she can maybe start implementing some things. But she's a little too young to be hooking her up, and watching all that. But that's kind of the same concept. When you look at it and you realize, oh, my body is doing this, and then you realize how you feel, then you can
Uh-huh,
identify those things together.
uh-huh.
You connect that. It's a good connection. Interesting stuff. Okay.
And
Um,
so when you understand what your body's feeling, then you can
yep,
do something about it. Then you go,
exactly.
now I know
Yeah.
what that is and I can do something about
Especially
it.
if it's something you've been feeling for a long time, you might just like, this is just normal how I feel or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's good. Okay, Elaine wanted to know, is any of this related to tremors? It's not, is it that kind of nerve we're talking about?
Not necessarily, and probably not. Tremors, there's a lot of different kinds of tremors. Some are Parkinsonian tremors, and that's coming from the basal ganglia in the forebrain. It's the control of the muscles. So the same way the autonomic nervous system needs to balance, your muscles need to balance. So when I go to reach for something, I have to be able to say yes and no on both sides, so to keep it from tremoring, right? So that's one. There's another one called essential tremor. Essential tremor is um, essential meaning it just happens out of nowhere, but that's not really what happens. It's the control part, probably from the cerebellum. It just causes a fine tremor, and it's just always there. And some people have it, and it doesn't seem to be associated with like an illness, like Parkinson's or anything like that. They don't progress on to have Parkinson's or anything. They just have this constant essential tremor. So there's various kinds of tremors that happen for various reasons. And while it is about control, there's more in the forebrain, the cerebral muscular control, and not or cerebellar muscular control, and not the autonomic nervous system.
Okay, Mary Benson, glad you're here, asks, do these same tricks to slow the vagus nerve then also work to decrease epinephrine when in an anxiety-producing situation, such as before giving a speech?
Good question. The answer is yes and no. Um, yes, indirectly, by the effect of the vagus nerve on the adrenal glands is to decrease the adrenal medulla, which is where the epinephrine is made. So it does have an effect on that. But consider this also, that a lot of those effects that you're feeling aren't just epinephrine. Yeah, epinephrine causes the strong, it's kind of slow but normal heartbeat, but a real strong heartbeat where you say, I feel my heart beating in my chest. Epinephrine does that. But the other parts, like the heart beating fast and sweating from your armpits and sweating in your palms, and that is the sympathetic nervous system. That's the nerves doing that.
Okay. All right, let's do a different topic question here. Autrey in the Q&A says, I'm pre-diabetic and trying to control with diet and exercise. Good job, Autrey. One morning after being good the day before, meaning very small amount of carbs, lots of veggies, and a small portion of poultry, I went to bed with a blood sugar reading of 98, knowing that I would have a good reading the next morning. After testing myself the next morning, my blood sugar reading was 138. I was so disappointed and heartbroken. I said, what's the use? And then I said, no, I didn't clean my finger well enough. I'll clean again and test again. So in lieu of testing the same finger, I tested a second and then got a 93 reading. This is crazy. So I cleaned a third finger and got a different reading of 117. What could be going on?
Okay. There's a lot of things going on. First of all, your blood glucose is going up and down all the time. So it may have been close before or whatever. But the other thing to consider is that the monitor itself has um, an error rate of approximately 20%. So out of 100, that means it could vary within 20 and 100. So if your blood sugar is 100 and it tells you you're 90 or 110, that's all within the variability of the machine itself. So some of those seem to be a little outside, like 130 to 98. That's a little outside of the machine's variability. So I don't know, but yeah, the way to look at those machines is not that's an absolute number. Look at it as kind of a general idea. And so if your morning blood sugar is 130 one time and all the rest of the times it's 98, then you're
I wish I could finish that sentence for him, but
I
I
know.
couldn't.
I'm gonna guess he's gonna say you're gonna go with your, if it's higher 130s and then you get the 78, more than likely you're more in the 130 range.
Yeah.
He is very frozen.
So did I stop? I
Okay,
got
you
Yes.
you
I got
did.
frozen. Okay. So if you're higher than if you're 130 one day and then like 98 all the other days. But your preamble was that you were really good that day and you were
The
just
day before,
absolutely
yes.
sure that it was going to
Yes.
be okay. Okay, there are so many factors that enter into what your blood glucose is doing. There's a lot of hormones. People are getting injections with peptides like GLP-1 that affects your blood sugar, and then your glucagon affects your blood sugar, and so if you go to bed and with a normal blood sugar and you ate really well that day, so your blood sugar is going down and down and down. And then your body goes, oh no, I got to release some glucagon. So you make glucagon from your pancreas, and then your liver starts making a whole bunch of glucose, and boo, your blood glucose goes up. Right about that same time, you release a whole bunch of cortisol that makes you resistant to insulin, and so it goes up more. And so, there's a lot of factors that are entered into this. So don't give up. Don't give up. Don't say it's not worth it. It's worth it. It's definitely worth it.
All right, we have a common question with a different spin today about parasites in the pancreas. What are the findings that there are parasites in the pancreas that need to be removed by the way of a cleanse? Japan does this through life and don't have the US diabetes problem, according to Dr. Gundry. Have you seen any research about this?
I've heard about it. I have not seen any specific research on on parasites in the pancreas. I know parasites can get in the pancreas, but I don't know how common that is. I haven't seen enough research to know the specifics of it though.
Why do you think we get this question every week almost?
Because it's being advertised a lot. I've seen it. So, one of the things that's happening is, how do you have something different, and advertise that and run a business on that, kind of thing. Then you say, well, okay, so the reason you have diabetes is because of parasites, and if you get rid of the parasites, then you get rid of the diabetes. Um, um, that may be occasionally an issue, but I don't think it's very common, really. I think, like we've seen here, if you get the diabetes solution kit, you're going to get a real lifetime way of dealing with diabetes and not go off on all these tangents that people have of oh you've got this toxin. Somebody quoted a study from someone that like titanium, like the color, the white, and foods are sometimes dyed with titanium white to make the give them a white color. Well, they found titanium in the islet cells in the pancreas and said, aha, that's the cause of diabetes. And so there was this huge um, campaign about how to get titanium out of your pancreas. Really, if you eat well, you take care of your body, and use the diabetes solution kit, it works. And just do it more for a long term and not try to do the easy way out. It's not easy.
Definitely not. And there are so many commercials and things on TV that
Yeah.
with the pill to take or the quick fix or
Mhm.
to sell something. Um, yeah, for sure. Okay, so Stephen has a question. He wants to know, is it healthy to drive a car long distances, not in rush hour traffic, but just long distance? Is that healthy or not? Or unhealthy?
Um, to drive a car long distance, it's kind of interesting. In a car, you don't have the issues that you do in like airplanes.
Mhm.
If you're sitting on a plane for more than 8 hours, you are 1 out of 10 people who do that get clots in their legs and end up with like pulmonary emboli and stuff like that. No, no, they don't die from it. I have had a couple of people. I had somebody fly to Italy and have to come home because she got swelling in her leg, couldn't walk around, and had to come home. And that was from a clot that formed from sitting that long in an airplane. it's really, there's something about like high altitude or something that seems to cause that, because people taking long distance car rides, they don't have those same kind of issues. So no, I don't know of any reason why sitting in a car for a long period of time would hurt your health.
I wonder if he's like a truck driver, if maybe
Yeah.
the long distance like that. We've
Well,
had a lot.
truck drivers do get certain issues, like hemorrhoids. They actually do have some problems.
We have had in the past truck drivers reach out because the rule is you can't drive with a certain blood sugar number. So if they have diabetes, they have to get under control to be safe on the road. So, all right. Cheryl Gimison says, can you have 1.5 diabetes type? I'm thinking she's saying type 1.5 and be able to reverse it. She says, my doctor wants me to go on GLP-1 and use insulin because it can't be reversed. Then she says she feels your reversal program is for type 2, maybe not 1.5. So what is 1.5? Type 1.5? Is that a thing?
Good question. Okay. So 1.5 is not an official thing. It's kind of like, what do you do with the people who have insulin resistance, like type 2, and they have low insulin, like type 1? So when you have both of them together, insulin resistance with low insulin, that's considered type 1.5. And so the idea that you can't fix it is common out there. That's what most doctors will say, because when the pancreas isn't making insulin, then you have to inject insulin. In a sense, there's some truth to that. But part of the problem is when you add on more insulin, you're also going to raise the insulin resistance. So that's going to make the type 2 part worse. So it's not the solution. Actually, a really good solution is to get a monitor, a continuous glucose monitor, start with the diabetes solution kit, and follow that step by step, so that you can keep your blood sugar normal, go off the insulin as you're able to, because one of the things that often isn't done is that doctors who diagnose this won't look at the insulin levels or the C-peptide levels. So actually, before you start that diabetes solution kit, get a test of hemoglobin A1C, blood glucose, the insulin, and the C-peptide, those four tests. And so that'll tell you how much your pancreas is working. So I have somebody whose pancreas is working just a little bit. Up 5 is normal, up to 10 is normal, 5 is average, and she's at 1. So she makes a little bit of insulin, but it's not very much. What we need to do is to get her to start making some insulin, and so we're using that diabetes solution kit, and then gradually taking her off insulin.
Okay. I did drop the link to the diabetes solution kit in the chat, as well as the code Saunders 25, which would save 25%. The diabetes solution kit is offered in a digital version, which is less expensive. So you're emailed a PDF or a print version that will actually, you'll have a copy in your hand. So whichever you prefer on that. Let's see, there was a question here I was going to ask. Oh, Rinda wants to know, although I'm under 110 pounds, should I eventually be able to fast for 17 or more hours without losing too much muscle mass, too much weight, or becoming too weak? I'm not diabetic, but I have heart disease.
Okay. Um, so there's a lot of people that don't want to lose weight, and does fasting help them? Absolutely. There is no reason you couldn't fast. 17 and a half hours is a very specific number. Not 18, not 17.
17 or more.
Oh,
17,
17 or more. Oh
yeah.
yeah, yeah. Okay.
17 or more.
The uh, the amount of time you can fast reasonably is the amount of extra body weight you have. If eat every day for 1 pound of body weight. And if you don't want to lose weight, don't do more than 3 days. So in a 3-day fast. In fact, Dr. Walter Longo, who did a lot of research on this, found that after 5 days of fasting, only 9% of the weight you lose is lean body mass. And you won't lose very much. But what happens is as soon as you start eating, you gain it back. And what you're gaining back is the good stuff. It's muscle and you're going to get some fat back, of course, too. I even though he says 5 days is fine, and they actually have a kit for that, and anybody can do it, you're not going to permanently lose weight by doing that. 3 days is adequate if you just drink water. It's great.
All right, she does. Oh, this is another customer. All right, I want to wrap this back up to our first topic of the vagus nerve. So, if someone who's had a lot of chronic stress, a lot of been in the fight or flight mode for a very long time, can they reverse the vagus nerve damage, or can you actually heal it?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, that's what a living thing is. We're alive. We can change. And you can always change. As we age, it's a little harder, but it's still there. Or as something becomes more ingrained, you have this sympathetic freeway that's 5 lanes on each side. How are you going to make it into a 1-lane highway? Well, what you're going to do is you're going to do a lot of work with the parasympathetic nervous system. And so you wouldn't do just one modality. You might do, okay, today's my HeartMath day, and then tomorrow's my cold plunge day. And you do different things.
Yes, if take a while to get there, it might take a while to get out of there.
That's
Yeah.
right. That's right. All right. Well, thank you so much, Dr. Saunders. We appreciate all of your great information today. So thank you very much. Have a
All
great
right.
week, Dr.
You
Saunders.
too. Bye.
All right. I dropped the link to our Facebook group in the chat. There's some questions we did not have time to get to today. So if you want to go out there in that group, I'll have a post out next week. And you can put your questions in the thread. Then we'll make sure that we get to your question each week. So head on out there to that group. Plus, it's a great place for a community. Like we said earlier, we are really trying to do this together. We do so much better when we do this together. So there's that information for you. Also, it looks like Cheryl is dropping some articles in the chat as well if you want to continue reading. Cheryl, what are the articles about this?
They're about the vagus nerve, and I'm trying to get them to copy and paste, and my computer is freezing. So I'm not sure if it'll work. Let me try again.
Okay, okay. And then it looks like Cheryl, it looks like Jerry was having trouble using the Saunders 25 code. Should we have Jerry reach out to customer service to help with that?
Definitely, yes.
Okay, and the best way to do that is?
Support@bartonpublishing.com.
Absolutely. Go ahead and do that.
All right, there, I finally got those articles posted.
Oh, excellent. Excellent. Okay. And then one other thing that I wanted to talk to you about really quickly, Cheryl, is, yesterday we had a really good discussion on our team call about the coaching program. Little clarity on kind of what it is, and how it works. And so I did drop a link to if you would like to schedule a free individual session with one of our coaches. There's a place there you can schedule. And Cheryl, I want to make sure I don't say anything that's wrong. So correct me if I'm wrong here. But my understanding of this coaching call is that it's the first time call and it's very individualized.
Yes.
And that it's for like a 10-day like free trial, right?
Yes,
Is that what you got out of that
that is
too?
correct. You can do a
Yeah.
10-day free trial. It's very
Yeah.
specific for you. Mhm.
Very specific. And one of the things that Tyler on the team said was, he says it's really designed for that long-term sustainability, So it's not something that, like if with your health, it's like the crash diet where you're going to gain the weight back, or, it's not the quick fix. It's to help you basically live with the body that, you were given, but then make it more sustainable by what are things that you can actually implement into your lifestyle, into your life to help you, especially as we age.
Mhm.
And he used the example, like if you are somebody, and I feel like diabetics deal with this all the time, with the foods, oh, the things they can't eat. You can't have this, you can't have this, you can't have that. Well, the coaches are going to work with you, to find that moderation, to find, okay, if you really want that piece of chocolate, then you should, do this maybe to offset it or whatever, to kind of, make the goals work for you and for your body and for your lifestyle. What else do you want to add about that? Anything?
I would say it's not a blanket coaching program. It's
Right.
it's a definitely tailor-made for whatever issues
Mhm.
you might have.
Yes.
And if you struggled with just having the right discipline, this is not
Mhm.
about just having discipline. It includes accountability.
Yep.
It helps you with that 1% changes you might be able to make, or the 3% changes you might be able to make. And if it's something you've really longed for, there's no harm in trying it.
Absolutely. Yeah. And yeah, it's very highly rated. People that work with the coaches are very, very happy. It's successful. And he also talked about basically adjusting the life that you live right now to make it more sustainable long term. And as we age, that's something that we all think about for sure. So that is something that we offer. That first call, it's free to you. You can get a taste of what it's like, and then they'll put you in a like a 10-day trial, and then you can really see how things are working for you. So,
We have a
you
couple
can,
of questions.
okay,
We have a
go
couple
ahead.
of, what is the name of the Facebook group and can we rewatch on Facebook?
Okay. So the Facebook group is Barton Publishing Webinar, or Barton Webinar Community. Actually, let me double check, because now that I say that out loud, that doesn't sound right. And I
I
don't
think
want to give you the wrong. Barton Webinar Community is what it's called on Facebook. And if you want to rewatch, we have so many episodes. I am starting to post links out on Facebook to rewatch, but if you want to just go and search and see what we have, if you go to YouTube and you search for the Barton Publishing webinar, which is we're actually live streaming there right now. We have a channel and there's a tab that says live, and you will see all of the past live webinars that we did. That you can search by title and by topic. What did I say? Today we are on episode 325. So there's a lot out there. So you can search and rewatch any of these live, or any that we've recorded live. You'll be able to rewatch any of them. So there's some great, great stuff out there.
a lot of them are about blood sugar support and all the
Mhm.
issues related to someone who might have diabetes type 2 particularly. Also, there are a lot that have address heart issues
Mhm.
and blood pressure as well. So,
Yes, a lot of heart health out there for sure too. And then there's some just one-off topics
yeah.
too. One of my favorites that I watch is the episode that when Dr. Saunders was talking about cancer and ivermectin. Very, very interesting stuff on that one. Lots and lots of good things. Next week we are going to be talking about heart health again. We're going to be talking about blood pressure and different heart health issues as well with that. So we look forward to all of you joining us again. Cheryl, were there any other questions that we missed? Anything you're seeing?
Well, I just wanted to say, Lori, she said she was seeing a cervical spine chiropractor. So the is just with your upper spine, not with like your back. And he adjusts the C1 and C2 where the vagus nerve is. Her blood pressure is the best it's ever been. She's been
Oh, that's
sleeping better.
interesting.
Cravings are gone. That's huge. So yeah, a different way to manage the vagus nerve, and she's seeing
Yeah.
tremendous results.
Yes, I see. Those are the things I love to hear. I love to hear what's working for other people. That's where you get the real information.
Yeah.
It's the testimonials are That's what I'm always looking for with anything I'm doing or buying or anything. Oh my goodness, yes. Thank you for sharing that.
It's like the reviews we all look for on Amazon. We want those testimonials. Ah, good product or not.
Exactly, exactly. All right. Well, thank you everyone for coming today, and we look forward to seeing you next week. I hope to see you out on our Facebook page. And if you are watching from YouTube, I hope you're able to join us live next week. So we will be back here, same time, same place, talking about some heart health stuff next week. So have a great week.